The Prophet ﷺ said that there were three friends who went on a journey. On their journey, whilst they're traveling, what now happens is that night falls. So they started to search for a place where they could spend the night. In today's day and age, we see a lot of technological advancements around us. Wherever in the world we may be driving down the road in the night, we do find a hotel to spend night in. But this wasn't the case in those days. It's already been around 1450 years since the time of the Prophet, and he's mentioning an account of even a previous era. It means this account took place thousands of years ago. There was nothing like this in that era. Where would people stay in those days? They would look for some kind of a cave in a mountain and spend their night over there. So the three friends did the same. They found a cave, they cleaned it, and said that let's spend the night over here, have some rest, and we'll continue our journey tomorrow morning. Now what happens? When they went in the cave that night, what happened over there was that a very huge rock fell down and closed the mouth of the cave. Now, there's no way to come out of the cave. And being stuck in that era, do you understand what it means? In today's day and age, if someone gets stuck, they can use their mobile phone, they can share their location. It's the era of internet, informing people to come and rescue them. But back in those days, such a calamity meant that their life is not finished. You have to face death with starvation. No one knows where they are. Who's going to come to rescue them? Now all three friends thought that what's going to happen. What they then decided was, it is quite obvious that we will die, but let's make dua to Allah, and turn by turn, let all three of us present any such deed of ours in the court of Allah Almighty, which we are hopeful about that Allah Almighty has accepted it. And may Allah rescue us from this cave for the sake of that very deed. So the first friend raised his hands and makes dua in the court of Allah that, Oh Allah, what happened once was that there was a girl in our family whom I dearly liked. And once what happened was that she was in a problem, so she came to take help from me where she wanted some loan from me. So shaitan overcame me. I said to her that I'll give you the money, but you will have to commit the indecent act with me. The girl was in extreme need and said not to do this. Fear Allah, I'm in need, please help me. So the person pleaded that, Oh Allah, I had control over her and she also agreed to it, but she said one thing to me, that fear Allah, please don't do this. So, Oh Allah, at that time I feared you. There was no one who could see me. But, Oh Allah, just for your sake I let go of her. Oh my Lord, if I performed that deed only for your sake, then, Oh Allah, take us out of this calamity. Now that very rock, with the mercy of Allah Almighty, opened up a bit, but not wide enough that the three friends could go out of the cave. And this account is from a hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari. Now the second friend, he raises his hands and says that, Oh Allah, I would go to jungles and forests to cut wood, and after finishing the work, when I would get back home late at night, then I would first of all take out milk of goats and present it to my parents, and after them I would give milk to my children. Oh Allah, what happened one night was that when I came back it was quite late. When I took the milk and went in my parents' court, they had fallen asleep. Oh my Lord, I thought that parents have gone asleep, how can I give it to children first, whereas respect demands for parents to be served first? The children kept asking for the milk, but I said no, and I stood by my parents where they were asleep all night with milk in my hand, just so that whenever they wake up, I will present them with milk. And this is what happened when my parents woke up. I presented them milk first, and then I gave it to my children. Oh Allah, the way I served my parents, if it was solely and purely for your sake, then oh Allah, take us out of this cave tonight. In the hadith it states that that rock slid open a bit more, but it was still not wide enough for all three of them to come out of the cave. Now the third friend, he raised his hands and said, Oh Allah, once a laborer came to me, and that laborer did some labor work for me, and he forgot to collect his payment from me, and he left. I kept his money separately on the side. In fact, what I did was that I invested his due amount in my business and ran operations on his behalf too. After a very long time, that laborer recalled it and came back to me saying that, do you remember I came to you and did some labor work and I'm due to collect his payment. So dear Allah, I said to him that all this cattle that you see, this is all yours. He asked, how's it mine? My payment was a small amount. I told him that I invested your money in business and this is how much it grew. Take it all, this is all yours. So he happily took all the cattle with him. Oh my Lord, if that very deed of mine was for your sake, then oh Allah, save us today, take us out of this cave. The Prophet ﷺ said that then the rock slid open even further, and all the three people came out of the cave. Now there's so much that we can learn from this account. Allahu Akbar. Let me also first of all clarify a point of devotional love and belief. Satan the accursed infuses many whispers and misconceptions in our heart. All the three friends presented a medium of their pious deeds in the court of Allah. Isn't it? The pious deed that they themselves had performed. They presented its wasila, its medium in the court of Allah. And who's mentioning this account? The Prophet ﷺ. And to whom? To the Sahaba. And which hadith book is it in? Sahih al-Bukhari. If this action was not good, if presenting wasila in the court of Allah was not permissible, then the Prophet wouldn't have mentioned it. It means that the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us that these people presented their deeds as wasila, as a medium in the court of Allah Almighty, and Allah Almighty granted them deliverance from that very calamity. So my question is that we are wrongdoers, transgressors, we are sinners from head to toe. If we present medium of our pious deeds, Allah Almighty accepts it. Then someone who is an embodiment of worship like Ghawthul Azam, or the kings of worship like the Sahaba, or the master of the entire creation, the Prophet ﷺ, if an ummati presents the wasila of the Prophet that, oh Allah, please accept my dua, remove this difficulty, I present the wasila of the Sahaba, I present the wasila of the awliya. This is something that we learn from the hadith. So don't let any confusion settle in your minds regarding the belief of wasila.